kind of artist am I? I'm a hard-working artist. Let's put it like that. I usually make paintings, but I'm expanding into other things.
I've always been interested both in dance and theater, but I began exploring dance theater when I was part of a dance theater company in New York. It was a hip-hop theater company called Ruby Theater Company, and I loved it because it was multidisciplinary, and that's the way that I like to work. My work is social justice oriented, so the pieces that I've created revolve around things that concern me, particularly when it comes to women or underrepresented populations. So I have done work on the issue of femicide on the border towns with Mexico and the United States. I did a piece on mass incarceration and how it impacts women in the community. The current work is about the colonial relationship between Puerto Rico and the United States.
I'm an artist from Nepal, and I paint mindful mantras and I create murals out of them. I've done work all over the world, murals in the US, also in Asia, various cities. Most recently I worked on the Boston Underground Ink project, which is in South Boston, and I created a huge mural along with other very amazing artists. I also worked for Hub Week here a few months ago, so that was super exciting as well.
I was the founding executive director of 826 Boston, which is a youth writing center in Roxbury's Eggleston Square. We worked with close to 20,000 Boston Public School students to help them kind of create their stories, raise their voices, share their stories, and we published a number of books. One of my favorites is called A Place for Me in the World, in which middle school students are interviewing people, everyone from Mayor Menino to the drummer for the Blue Oyster Cult to a bouncer to a heart surgeon, and then kind of reflecting on the work that they wanted to do, when they grew up.
Taiko is a Japanese word that means drum. They're big drums that you play with big sticks. Taiko is an art form that's existed in Japan as a cultural art form for hundreds and hundreds of years. So the organization that I started 7 years ago is called the Genki Spark. It's a Pan-Asian multi-generational women's group. So using our stories and the art form and the idea of building a collective or a sisterhood is a way to really empower us to be big in our lives. There's something really exciting about seeing Asian women, I think, who have been stereotyped as being quiet and passive and not really loud or being willing to cause waves, being on a big drum, with 10 other Asian women and saying, we're not going to be quiet. We're going to talk about our experiences. We're going to be unapologetic, and we're going to be big, and we're going to be loud.
I hope to inspire other women of color to write, especially like urban youth, to express themselves, because I feel like sometimes youth of color feel like they don't have a voice, and I feel like writing is a great tool to help them elevate their voices. So I hope to just inspire other people that are from my community to express themselves through writing, and knowing that there's no way that you can get away from writing. You have to write if you're working on a resume, or if you want to be an author, or sending emails or posting on social media. Like, writing is a great tool to use to express yourself, and it's so powerful, and it can get you into doors that may have you haven't been able to open with words, but you can do that on the paper or on the computer screen.
I love that theater is collaborative. I love that theater is really designed for us to look at social context or social issues and kind of explore them. I love the fact that all the other mediums show up in theater. So music shows up in theater, dance shows up in theater. I love the fact that at its root, it's really about storytelling and people being able to share their story. I think when people are allowed to share their story, they feel like they're a part of the society that they're in. They see themselves because they're sharing their story. And we're also able to kind of build relationships with each other based on being able to hear and see ourselves in each other's stories. So thereby creating empathy and things of that nature that are really important for any society to have. But theater at its base starts with our ability to see ourselves.
My hope is that bringing the tools, resources that I have as a poet, I can help amplify the voices of Boston residents, whether working with youth, teens, elders. I think incredible things are possible when when people raise their voices and share their stories. And Boston is such a rich and diverse city. I'm excited to continue to hear and help to amplify these stories.
Very proud to live in a city that has taken upon the theme of race and resilience to tackle those issues that we know are present in this city and all over the nation. But the fact that the city has decided to tackle it and bring in artists to help, accomplish that vision makes me feel very hopeful.
Art and social change, I couldn't be more excited about those two words in the same sentence. I mean, to me, every artist is trying to say something. They have a story to tell or a message to convey. And art and music in particular are great ways to bring people together across language, across difference. And the kind of art that I play was really about engaging people and having people try and play together.
I think my main goal for the residency is to try to make art more accessible for people in the city, but also especially young people, because art is so important, and I want to kind of take the role of trying to make art more accessible. I think it would be really cool to see people stop and think about the different kind of artwork that all the Boston heirs are going to produce. As for my work, I hope to create some sort of a public mural. And so with that, I hope to get some conversations going, people asking questions and people talking to each other and kind of building a community around it. I think being a Boston heir means that I'm connecting with the city in a different way, connecting with city officials, but also people in the city through my art. So I think it's a really amazing opportunity.
Being a Boston heir, artist in residence means everything to me. I feel like it came at a great period, just like where we are as a society. There's a lot of negative things that we see, either when we pick up the newspaper or watch on the TV screen or hear on the radio. And it's really inspirational just to be a part of the change that we want to see in our city. I'm a Bostonian, I love my city. I think it's a great time to, participate in something like this and actually help influence policy and just listen to what the community thinks and just kind of be that bridge between the government and the community.
I would like it to look directly at racial equity. I know that we have an opportunity here. And so I want civic leaders to listen to us as artists and us as people in community. I want us to be reflective and look at the protocols that are there and figure out what's the best approach so that we can shift this. Historically, Boston has been known as a very racially traumatizing space. And I want to shift that idea about who we are as a city, idea about who we are as the people that live in this city, because we have what it takes to shift this. If people were at the root of creating it, then people will be at the root of dismantling it.
Art is a catalyst for a lot of things. It can raise awareness. It can make people understand things differently. I don't think it feeds people and it doesn't clothe people, but it actually does inspire. There's an interesting story about Henri Matisse, who was in Nice during the war. And someone said to him, "How can you make these beautiful paintings when France is at war?" And he said, "I want people to remember what life can be like." So that's part of what the artist's job is. Part of it is to critique what's happening, but also part of it is to remind us of what life can be like.